Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon, and today we're going to be taking a look at It's a Wonderful World. As we just covered, the pledge manager for late pledges is open for It's a Wonderful Kingdom. This is It's a Wonderful Kingdom's predecessor, It's a Wonderful World, which I had always kind of had my eye on, and after backing It's a Wonderful Kingdom, it really got me thinking I really need to come back here and give It's a Wonderful World a try. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the box here. So It's a Wonderful World is a game very similar to Seven Wonders. That it's a card drafting game, and those cards are you use them to create resources, and then you use those resources to construct the cards essentially, and then add them to your world, your empire, I believe they're called in this game. So but what's really nice about It's a Wonderful World that Seven Wonders doesn't have is a solo mode. So, and it's also a very quick game. I to be honest, have never played Seven Wonders, so maybe Seven Wonders is a very quick game. But this game drew my interest based on some playthroughs that I saw of it being played solo, and it's a really fun engine builder. It's very quick, so it's almost like a kind of scaled down version of to me it seems like it's going to be kind of a mix of Seven Wonders and Terraforming Mars in a way. Terraforming Mars is a much more big epic engine builder, whereas this one is much tighter, much more straightforward. So here we have the instruction manual, and I actually have already looked through the instruction manual, and it's actually very straightforward, very simple. It's actually only 8 pages, period, and this whole back page is a solo scenarios, so 6 different scenarios that you can play that give you the rules might change a little bit, but basically the setup is changed a little bit to give you a little bit of a different challenge each time. I love when they do this for games that are usually multiplayer games, but they create a solo aspect for it, and then they give you these little scenarios that make the game different from game to game. I really appreciate this. So, but if you look at it, essentially you've got setup. It's very straightforward. Playing the game, and then you have the draft phase, which is very similar to Seven Wonders, and then you have the planning phase, and then the production phase. There are some really good examples. There's some really good visuals here. There are a few things, I'm just going to get on my soapbox for a minute about instruction manuals, that I don't understand how the graphic designer got away with approving this. For example, if you're looking at this, you're probably reading it down this column, then down this column, then down this column, and then down this column. But what they have done here is done planning phase, and then in this entire column they have an example of the planning phase. And then they move on to production phase, and then there is some talk about supremacy and construction bonuses here. But it just really doesn't make sense to me why they didn't figure out a way to shrink this graphic down and fit it right here, and then put production phase and then this, and because they do it again here on the next page, and it really just kind of threw me. Or maybe it was this page here that, okay, yes, here they're talking, they have already gone through supremacy bonus, construction bonus, and now they're talking about resources aren't limited, and then they're talking about once all the spaces of a card are constructed. Well, now here they start talking about producing, and so we're all the way back here to the production step, and here's your example for the production step, and here is the construction discussion, and then here's the construction example, which makes sense because they're side by side. But at this point I've already started reading the entire manual up and down this way. Anyways, I just had to say it. It's my little soapbox, because stuff like that really bugs me. But nobody asked my opinion for getting the rulebook together. Anyways, so We've got some punch boards here, some cardboard. So this is basically 1/2 of the board. All it's really meant to do is hold the resource cubes and give you the order in which you go through the production phase. So this is the other half. You can see that these fit nicely together like this, and then it gives you an area for financier and general tokens. This is going to hold your kind of wild red tokens, and then it gives you a spot for your draw and discard pile. And that's pretty much it. I don't think, yeah, they're not double-sided, so but again, it's really just to hold the resource cubes. So then, like I said, you've got all of these financiers and generals who you can earn through various things, and either going to give you victory points at the end of the game, or some cards do require 1 or 2 of these to construct. And that's pretty much it. So these are double-sided, but again, very little cardboard involved in the game. Most of the game is either these resource cubes or all of these cards. So pretty decent stack of cards here. Very interesting setup right off the bat for an insert. But this is it. This is what they have provided with us. As you can see, these are basically very similar to Terraforming Mars. These are just plastic cubes in all the various colors. Red, green, blue, these are all kind of translucent. And the blacks are translucent, and then these gray ones are not. But other than that, very fine looking. I'm sure we will come up with some way to store these, and that will also keep them, make them easy to set out on that thing. This is nice that they have a little score pad here for you to write stuff down at the end of the game. It's not double-sided, but that's okay. But just having read through the rule book already, I did note that scoring, I definitely was thinking, oh, I'm going to have a pad of paper sitting around, that there's no way I'm going to be able to keep track of all these numbers in my head. So I appreciate that they leave you something like this. Okay, so the only thing left to look at in the box are the cards. And for the most part, all of the cards have this same back. They're all these multi-use cards. Here you can see, they all have unique artwork on them, which is nice. And they all have that single back on them, except for your Empire cards. So here is an example of, let's see how many there are. 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So it's a 1 to 5 player game. So if you're playing with 5 people, everybody's just going to be randomly dealt one of these. There is an A and a B side. So you can see here the Pan-African Union. This is the A side, and what this is giving you is at the end of the game, it's going to give you 2 victory points for every green science card you've created. And also every production phase, it's going to give you 2 materials and then 2 science. Also down here, this is telling you that anytime you have stored away 5 of any type of resource on this card, you can trade them in for 1 wild. Basically, when you put stuff on your Empire card, it's just stuck there until you get 5. You either put something on a card to, say, fill one of these slots immediately, or you have to put it on your Empire card. If you look at the B side, all you're basically missing is this bonus for scoring points. So when you play, you basically want to either decide, is everybody going to play on A, or is everybody going to play on B? What's nice is that all of these little kind of bonus multipliers are different. So if you're playing on the A side, it means that people are going to be going after different cards, whereas if you play on the B side, everybody is basically getting the exact same thing. So more asymmetrical gameplay when you play on the A side. So I think for the most part, I would usually choose the A side. And then, like I said, I'm not going to go through this exhaustive list of cards. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what the cards look like and how they function. So here you can see Super Sonar is one of the cards that you could either construct, or after you've drafted it, you can recycle it for this single resource right here. So you could decide to discard it immediately to gain a blue resource. Now, if you do decide to construct it and you are successful in constructing, it's going to give you 1 victory point at the end of the game. And then every production phase, it's going to give you a blue cube for every military card you have created. But it is considered a science card. So, and to construct the super sonar, you need to place 4 science cubes on it. Now let's just take a look, for example, at this one. Unknown Technology is also a science card. If you were to discard it for a resource, you would get a green cube. This one needs a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green resources plus a wild. So normally the reds that you can turn in 5 of any resource to get, and it creates a wild. You could put a wild as the green, but this one requires a wild as well as all of these greens. So, and then at the end of the game, it's only giving you 3 times the number of science cards, which this one is a science card. Here is one that, basically is just giving you 5 straight victory points at the end of the game. If you discard it for a resource, it's going to give you a blue one. But also, if you save this and then put 4 blue cubes on it and construct it, you're going to get this bonus in the middle here. So it's a one-time bonus when you construct the card, and in this case you would get it's called Crystallium, basically a wild cube. So, here, for example, at the end of the game, all the extra generals that you have not spent and have on your Empire card, you get ×2. This one's pretty straightforward. I'm basically just kind of going through and letting you guys see the variety of not only the unique artwork that's on every card, but also the different ways in which you need to construct the cards. These appear to all be like blue construction together. Obviously, you're going to shuffle these up. So here you can see, for example, in the one behind it, that this one actually takes a general in order to construct it. It's going to give you 2 Crystallium when you construct it, 10 VP at the end of the game, and for every science card, so it's going to give you a green cube times the number of blue. I forget what the blue card is called, blue resource, but like, for example, this is a blue resource. So that is pretty much it. We can just fly through some of these so you guys can see the artwork. Ooh, parallel dimension, that's cool. But they're just kind of all over the place with, some of them somewhat fictitious, some of them ancient history, some of them, futuristic history, Bermuda Triangle, just kind of all over the place with the unique artwork, which does make it fun. So, but that is it for It's a Wonderful World. Let's see if we can't figure out how to store everything back in the box and keep it nice and neat.
Alrighty, so I'm going to preface this storage solution with a few things. One is this may be overkill. There's actually a lot of space in this box, and the baggies aren't the worst thing in the world, but so obviously the board and the instructions sit on top like normal. But what I have set up here using my standard super stacker boxes is the ability to set this game up and get it going and then clean it up super fast. So I do have some alternatives that I want to discuss, but basically I have taken these various super stacker boxes, and you can see that like the yellow and the green I put in yellows, the blue and a blue, the red and a red, the gray and the blacks and a white. So these super stacker boxes offer some amount of color. And then I put some of the general and financier tokens into these same size ones, but I'm left with more than I need and ended up with a small baggie of them, which fit in with the deck of cards. Now, for me, who will primarily be playing this game either solo or with a small group of people, this is probably enough. But you could get the double size. You can see that Michaels sells these in 3 packs. They sell these in 2 packs for the same price. you could fit all of the tokens into this size, and if the score pad's not in the way, it does fit in there quite nicely, actually. So that is an alternative if you don't want to have a separate baggie of your overflow of general and financier tokens. But basically, everything has its own spot, and then the cards all fit into a baggie just barely, and they are right about the height. So for the most part, as long as you tuck some of these that are double high up in the corner, then this thing, which fits nicely into the corner like this, actually does not hit them. So you can watch me here pull everything out, and you can just see for yourself, minus the shuffling of the cards, which could take a while in any instance, but let's get rid of the box here. Set the rules up. Here's the board. It goes just like so. And then I set out my blues. I set out my yellows. I set out my greens. I set out my blacks. And I set out my grays with my round tracker. Boom. I set out my 3 cards, which I don't know if it makes a difference. I don't think it really does where they go. Boom, 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 like so. Put out my reds. Put you out and put you out. There we go, and that's it. What's really nice about these is that the lids come completely off. I actually had come up with found some storage boxes that were smaller and a little less obvious. They blended in a little bit more, but they had lids on them. And so these 3 in the front blocked all these in the back, and then these ones in the back blocked your draw and discard pile, and you couldn't get to the round tracker at all. So this works for right now, but like I said, this is overkill. There's plenty of room, especially in like the red here. This is way bigger of a piece than I need, but this is the smallest little super stacker box they make, at least to my knowledge. And more than likely, I'm assuming the expansions, which I may get into in the future, are going to add at least more cards. And right now, there's not a whole lot of room to add more cards. So this storage solution may not be the best if you have, I believe there's 2 other expansions, at least at this time, for the game. So, but this works for right now. It's super cheap, super easy to find, at least on Michaels.com. But I know you can find these super stacker boxes in other locations, mainly hobby stores. And it's like $2 for a 3-pack. So you're talking like, I don't know, 65 cents a piece. So super cheap. All right, that is going to do it for right now. Join us in our next video where I'm going to play through It's a Wonderful World solo and show you how that plays.